Good morning, everyone, and welcome back to Coffee and Headlines, our daily get together live here on Facebook, where we talk about news from our city, our state, our country. We talk about great ways to better enjoy our lives here in Puerto Vallarta as a community of English speaking locals. And today is Friday, November 26th. It is Black Friday north of the country, north of the border. And a lot of people are probably shopping, but I say, who wants Black Friday when you can have shopping in Pitillal? And that's exactly what we are going to do today after we go through a few news that we have to go through. Well, we don't have to, but, it's important stuff. But I'm really excited about today because today we get to explore Piti City, Piti York, so close to Mexico and so far from the expats. Ha ha. Oh, dear. Well, we'll get to that in a second. But first, it's always a pleasure to get together with you. And as always, if you are new to the broadcast, it helps a great deal if you let us know that you are new, because that way we get to say hello and welcome you to Coffee and Headlines. And also, if you have something particularly important that you wish to bring up, it helps a great deal if you add the letter Q at the beginning of your comment. That way we can look for it, we can identify it, and we can react accordingly. You may or may not like the reaction, but that's the way we get along here. What else? I'm about to sneeze, but yeah. No, I'm not going to sneeze. I just have Friday itchy nose. So today, as always, we're going to go through a few news items, and we'll go through our weather, and then I will tell you exactly how to negotiate, how to navigate Pitillal, downtown Pitillal, a place that everybody should get to see, and a place that if you haven't visited, living here in Puerto Vallarta, I'm not going to hold it against you, but seriously, what fun. Okay, so let's get going, and of course, as usual, we'll take a look at all your comments at the end of the broadcast. So let's get this show on the road. Okay, where are my notes? Here are my notes. Apparently, there are more minors between the ages of 15 and 17 hoping to get vaccinated than there are COVID-19 vaccines in Puerto Vallarta. There have been 3 vaccination days available for minors, and the vaccines ran out yesterday, but no worries. There are 10,000 more vaccines that will become available next week for minors, and these will be available at La Lija starting on Monday. Again, this COVID-19 vaccine campaign is only for minors between the ages of 15 and 17 without pre-existing conditions. And as usual, pre-registration takes place at the Mi Vacuna website that we are all familiar with. The plot thickens as CEPAL's director has instructed the organization's legal department to initiate legal action against construction companies that have damaged or destroyed their infrastructure, consequently causing water shortages in areas of the city such as Pitillal and Conchas Chinas. This, of course, includes the legal action that is already in progress against the construction company that caused the landslide and subsequent collapse of Santa Barbara Street. Tómala. And speaking of legal action, don't think for a second that irregular construction permits are only granted to massive real estate development projects. Apparently, the new administration is actively going around town, shutting down irregular construction projects such as this one in Colonia Lomas del Coapinole within Pitillal. How can a colonia be within another colonia? Well, is Pitillal really a colonia? We get to find that out after the weather. So let's jump to the weather so that we can dive into the meat and potatoes of today's broadcast. Boom. And I don't see the weather. It would help if I could see the weather. Hold on. Ah, there it is. Today is a perfect day to rob a bank, says our snarky carrot weatherman. It is 26 degrees in Puerto Vallarta, feels like 27. Humidity is a comfortable 43%. Remember when we were having 80-something% humidity just a few weeks ago? And our temperature for our Fahrenheit-loving friends is 79 degrees. I don't think we've seen 79 before, at least not in a while. Our weather forecast for today as we begin our weekend: humid and mostly cloudy through the day with a high temperature of 30, low temperature of 21. Tomorrow, Saturday, mostly cloudy through the day with high temperature of 31, low temperature of 21. And Sunday will be a humid and partly cloudy day, high temperature of 31, low temperature of 19. Not bad for a nice fall weekend, or are we in winter yet? I don't have my stations, my seasons, not stations. In Spanish we call them stations, in English we call them seasons. I don't have my seasons all figured out, but I'm very, very happy that it's getting a lot cooler. So I am so tempted to put up a poll asking how many of you have actually gone to Pitillal, but I'm not going to embarrass anyone. But I will say that, it is quintessential Mexico, and we are going to discuss Pitillal today, as we promised we would. Actually, before we get into the actual thing, what I did is yesterday I asked myself, how am I going to do this? You know, I cannot do a walking tour because there's so many different places that I want to check out. And so I will have to stop my video camera a lot, and then I won't have enough time to edit. So I figured I am going to just take photographs, go on a photo safari, and that's what I did. Now, if you've never been to Pitillal, this is going to be about the neighborhood, but also as an adventure. If you've never been to Pitillal, what do you want to do? Well, you want to bring comfortable shoes because downtown Pitillal is all about walking around and checking out the stores and shopping and eating. So you want to bring comfortable shoes. You want to bring a Spanish-speaking friend because this is Pitillal. This is not Puerto Vallarta. Although Pitillal is part of Puerto Vallarta, there's a different mentality here, and I'll get into that now. You see, Pitillal was a small town many, many years ago with its own entity. And as Puerto Vallarta grew, it was absorbed into Puerto Vallarta. More specifically, it was founded as a town on September 15, 1872. That's a long time ago, by a man named Ezequiel Corona. And it was in 1975 that it became a delegación or municipality within Puerto Vallarta. And this municipality, as we'll see in the map, encompasses a number of surrounding colonias or neighborhoods. Now, we don't hear a lot about delegaciones in in Puerto Vallarta because they're not common here. In Mexico City, for example, Mexico City is organized in delegaciones, and these delegaciones are kind of like the boroughs in New York City. So, delegación, when I say delegación, it has nothing to do with delegating or delegation. That's just a legal name for the entity. So, we're going to focus on Pitillal Centro, which is mostly shopping, although there are some homes there. So if you've never been, you want to bring your shopping shoes. You want to bring bags that collapse because you never know what you're going to spend your money on. And you want to have a food related goal because you're going to be schlepping your purchases for a while and you have to have a goal. You have to have something to look forward to. So this can be problematic if you've never been to Pitillal before because you don't know what restaurants to trust or not. We've mentioned a couple of places, and we're going to mention a couple of places today. And so that's for people that have never been to PT City. If you have been to PT City before, then it's very easy to say, well, I don't want to go to Pitillal just for one thing. And when I mean just for one thing, that is explained because there's a lot of specialty shops, and I'll explain that as we go through the broadcast. So, what I did yesterday is I set myself a goal, a food goal. There's a restaurant that I wanted to check out, and boy, did I die and go to heaven at this restaurant. It was really funny because it was a taco place, and we'll get to know the restaurant on Tuesday. But at some point, the lady that was in charge came to me. And she asked me, so how's your food? And I said to her, I think I'm going to die and go to heaven. And she smiled and then she laughed and she said, that's perfectly okay. Just don't die in the restaurant. That's what she said. Anyhow, yesterday I set myself with this goal to go to this specific restaurant that I'd never seen before. And I gave myself 2 to 3 hours to do the adventure we are about to enjoy today. And now we do get to do this. And if and when you think about going to a Pitillal, think about it that way. Put aside 2 to 3 hours of your day, bring along your favorite Spanish-speaking friend, buy him or her lunch, and have an adventure such as this one. For starters, boundaries. This is downtown Pitillal. As you can see, it is surrounded by a number of colonias that are also part of Pitillal, and you know where Pitillal is. Before we continue, a couple of disclaimers. You see this green label? This green label here means that I actually know the name of the place. So as I show you different places in Pitillal, if you see a green label, you'll see the name of the place. So that way you won't have to ask what was the name of that place. If you don't see a green label, that means we don't know what the name of the place is, and that's just okay. And then if you ask what is the address of that specific store, we're not going to have an answer for you, and I'm going to tell you why. The whole reason why one of the main reasons why we do these neighborhood profiles is to encourage you guys to get off your butts and put on your walking shoes and go explore them on your own. Now, everything we're going to see today is not even located within this part. I didn't even get to go to this part of Pitillal. Everything is located here. So my hope is that you will feel encouraged to just go for a walk and find these places. And you'll be happy that you did. So for starters, even before you get to downtown Pitillal, I walked all the way down Francisco Villa. And right before you get to the town square, there is La Perlita. This is one of the places where I go shopping for yarn and crafting notions. Although I like the one downtown much better. The lady that is in charge of this store never seems to be excited or looking forward to serving you and helping you create a connection with their products. She's grumpy. What can I say? But if you're near Pitillal and you want to buy yarn and other notions, it is right there. Then you get closer to the actual Pitillal Plaza. And what I want you to notice in this photograph is how the streets have been fixed up and the sidewalks have been broadened. Here you can see what the original sidewalk used to be next to the parking lot. There is a parking lot under the main plaza, by the way. If you get there by driving your own vehicle, you can park right there. No big whoop. But you can see how the sidewalks have been expanded. And of course, the principal landmark here in Pitillal is the church. The church is a beautiful church that should be that is called the San Miguel de Arcángel Parish, San Miguel Arcángel Parish. And this reminds me to tell you that the name Pitillal comes from the fact that there are these plants along the river that are called pitillos, and hence that's the why we call the river Pitillal River, and the town is called Pitillal. Now, the heart and soul of any Mexican town is its main plaza, and Pitillal has a great main plaza. Those white canopy covers, roofs that you see, they're usually used by food vendors at night, and it's a lot of fun to go eat food in the plaza in the evening. There are shady parts of the plaza, but then there's also a little basketball court on the other side of the main plaza that doubles as a performance area. Sometimes they put up stages and they have shows going on there. So this is essentially the main plaza at Pitillal. From this point, you can walk 2 blocks in any direction, and we are going to end up at many wonderful places. For example, right around the corner from the main plaza is Tacos Neto. We explored the Tacos Neto that is located at Plaza Caracol, but this is the original one. Parenthetically, I found out from a local taxi driver that Don Neto, the founder, passed away of COVID a few months ago, which is really unfortunate. But this is the quintessential taqueria in Pitillal. There are many others, but this is the one that I know and love, and it is absolutely wonderful. Just across the street from this taqueria, the fact that somebody was making piñatas from scratch caught my attention. So I took a photograph of these unfinished paper mache piñatas that are here. Oh, hello, Martin. I'm glad that you are here and enjoying the show. We have a new person, everybody. What do we do when somebody is new? We say hello. So kindly welcome Martin along with me, and we'll continue with our narrative. Martin, if you have any questions, just let us know. Okay, so I was telling you earlier that Pitillal is a bunch of specialty stores. And it is, if you need candle making supplies, you have to go to the candle making store. If you need bras, you go to the bra and panty store. Now, I almost walked in here to ask if they had unpadded bras, but I did not want to embarrass myself. Yesterday, we were talking about padded bras and unpadded bras and where to find them. But this is one of many bra stores, and just down the street from the bra store was the baseball cap and backpack store. So again, you may or may not even know that these stores exist. So Pitillal is wonderful for going shopping for things that you did not even knew you needed. So down the street from this store was the hardware store. So this is the way it goes. You walk block after block after block, and you find all these tiny little stores. And then I came back to the main street because I wanted to show you how, at least on the main drag, which is called Emiliano Zapata, by the way, the continuation of Francisco Villa Avenue becomes Emiliano Zapata, has gotten this wonderful wider sidewalk treatment. But don't let this fool you. Most of the sidewalks in Pitillal are not this wide, unfortunately. Now, because I left my Panama hat on an Uber a couple of weeks ago, one of the places I definitely wanted to go to was Plaza La Luz, because in Plaza La Luz you'll find Casa Vaquera, which is a wonderful gay-owned store that sells hats and cowboy supplies for Mexican cowboys, or American or Canadian or international cowboys that want to look like Mexican cowboys, I suppose. Anyhow, I figured maybe I'll find a Panama hat here and I'll replace my Panama hat. And they had all kinds of wonderful selections. And just visiting and making a purchase here made my afternoon worthwhile. Check out these hats, for example. Every single one of these was only 50 pesos each. 50 pesos. That's what, $2, $2 American and change? It's less than $3. So, needless to say, I was looking um, for a Panama hat and I didn't find one, but I found these hats. Although the 50 peso hats were not as sophisticated as the 100 peso hats. And the difference was, let me come back to my main screen for a second, is that I got another hat. This hat is less spectacular and voluminous than the other hat that I have. And the reason that these are more expensive is because they have an elastic lining inside. So they stay on your head much better. But they have air conditioning ducts. It was really wonderful. So I would have purchased more hats if I had, whoa, wrong one. There you go. I would have purchased more hats if I had wanted to carry stuff, but I made a decision that I did not want to be schlepping anything yesterday, so I only got one hat, but trust me, I would have ended up with more hats had I been in that mindset. Again, this is called Casa Vaquera. It's 2 blocks away from downtown Pitillal. Not far from it, the handbag shop, if you're looking for handbags for ladies, there's a shop for that. If you're looking for Mexican candy, there's a shop for that. Now, at this next store where you can dress up your child like a Ken doll or a Barbie doll, if you choose to impose that on your child, I stopped to take a photograph, and I always ask first, by the way, whether I can take a photograph or not. And the guy that was running this shop, when I explained to him what Coffee and Headlines was about, and I told him that this was for English-speaking locals, he laughed and he said, "Oh no, the ones that barter." And I said to him, "What do you mean?" And he's like, "Well, there's all these English-speaking folks that come to our stores and they think they can barter for everything." And this brings up a very important point. Yes, bartering is popular in Mexico, but you have to know where it is appropriate and where it is not appropriate, and it is even offensive if you barter. I mean, say you walk into Siam Cuisine or any restaurant and you get the bill. Do you barter? No, you don't. You go to a store, an established business. Do you barter? No, you don't. Although you do go to the car dealership, and at the car dealership, you may go, "Oh, come on, give us a break," kind of thing. But when you are at just a regular store, we don't barter. So keep that in mind. Keep that in mind. I know that a lot of people enjoy getting a good deal, but it was really funny. This man said to me, it's almost overwhelming. So be mindful of that, dear cluster friends. You're going to find amazing prices for most things in Pitillal, such that if you add a bartering maneuver on top of that, it's almost like slapping people on the face. Just food for thought. Not far from this place, I found Crystalleria La Unica, which is another great store that I'd love to stop at. There are other branches of Crystalleria La Unica. There is one in Fluvial right next to Licks. There's one across the street from my house, 1 block away here in Avenida Francisco Villa. But this is a great place to find kitchen-related trinkets. It's supposed to be only for professional kitchens, but if you love to cook and you're looking for specialty chingaderas that have to do with your kitchen, this is a great place to get them. Down the street, on the same street, there is this beautiful, beautiful handmade crafts and chingadera store where you can find necklaces and beach bags and earrings and all kinds of trinkets. So there you have it, just down the street. I'm always looking for beautiful murals, and I found this one on a wall in somebody's home. Um, so there's that. This is looking at the church from one of the sides. As you can see, it's a very massive construction, and that's all I have to say about this. Oh no, actually, I laughed when I took this photograph because I was looking at all the light cables and electricity cables, and it is unfortunate that that those exist. I think it would be such an undertaking to get rid of all these lampposts and all these cables, but that's the way many Mexican towns look. Now, there's this place that I've never been to, and that's another thing. I always come back from El Pitillal finding places that I want to check out the next time. And I took a second to look at this birria restaurant, and it looked really comfy. I've never been to Birreria Robles, but I figured I'm gonna keep this in mind for the next time around. I even took a photograph of all the things that they sell. They have tacos and birria and quesadillas and all kinds of breakfasts that just made me go yum. I mean, they have molletes and machaca and gorditas and all kinds of things that I may try one of these days. And then one of my favorite places to go to is Alfareria Jalisco. Alfareria Jalisco is a traditional clay dish store where they have all kinds of trinkets. But it is Christmas. It is Christmas season. And we were talking about this a few broadcasts ago. And I'm so glad that Maggie, as in Peggy, has been to Birreria Robles. Thank you very much for the endorsement. We'll get to the comments. I'll come back to the comments in a second. But Alfareria Jalisco, it is Christmas time. And just a few broadcasts ago, we were talking about nativities. And if you want to get traditional nativity ornaments and Mexican ornaments, this is the place to go. Because during the holiday season, the store is just, it becomes a Christmas store. So you get all these traditional nativity collections. You can buy the whole set of Jesus and Mary and Joseph and the three wise men and so forth and so on. Or you can find individual pieces if you have an ambitious nativity at home and you want to become your own developer. Well, you can buy nativity condominiums. And then look at the bottom side down here. There's all these. Can you see my pointer? Yes, you can see my pointer. There's all these little teeny weeny accessories like nativity chicken and nativity cactus, cacti, mini buildings, mini homes, big homes, all kinds of things. And of course, it would not be a Mexican nativity without the devil himself. You can get musician devils. These are all musician devils. This one's playing an accordion. This one's playing a saxophone. This one's playing a guitar. You have to have a devil in your Mexican nativity. These are all handmade. These are all made of clay. These are our own hand painted. This is true Mexican craft at its finest. Not at its finest in terms of quality. These are not necessarily precious like porcelain, but these are just so typical of what Mexican Christmas is about. So just to walk into the store and look at all the things that they have, and you want to throw a baker into your nativity, you can throw a baker. If you want to throw a lady that sells fruits and vegetables, you can throw that into your nativity. And if you need a is it a manger? Manger. If you need a casita for the birthplace, then you can buy those, and you can get the moss that you use to decorate. So everything that you need for your traditional Mexican nativity, you can find at Alfareria Jalisco. So much fun. And in the rest of the year, if you know Alfareria Tlaquepaque on Avenida Mexico going into town, not far from Miguel Hidalgo Park, this store is very much like Alfareria Tlaquepaque, but with Pitillal prices. food for thought. My friend Catherine is very fond of this grilled meat place called Los Compas. And we went there one time and it was absolutely delicious. It's a traditional Mexican grill. It is al fresco. So you're eating outside, so you don't have to worry about crowds or anything. Um, and then I took this next photograph to remind myself to tell you that if you want to get to Pitillal by public transportation, just about every other bus in the city features a sign that says Pitillal. So if you want to get there, if you don't want to drive your car, if you don't want to take an Uber, this is a way to get there. Another restaurant that I discovered that I've never been to, but I figured I need to come back to this because it smelled so good, was this carnitas place. Carnitas, traditional carnitas from the state of Hidalgo, or Hidalgo style carnitas. Never been there. It's called El Chaparrito, but definitely on my list for the next time. And then in the middle of everything, there are homes. You see, the more you get away from downtown Pitillal, you do find buildings that are homes or apartment buildings that are either new or not so new. Actually, you don't find a lot of new, very new buildings in downtown Pitillal. But I took a photograph of this just for contrast. This is a huge private home, but this is a very special one because the owners on the weekend turn it into a cenaduria, or a place to have traditional dinner. From Tuesday to on Tuesday and Thursday, they have tostadas, tamales, and pozole starting at 5:30 p.m. And on Saturdays and Sundays, they have similar food starting at 5 p.m. Again, this is a home that becomes a restaurant. This is what it looks like behind those gates. And they filled all this space with tables and chairs, and I've been there, and it is absolutely delicious to go there. We're almost done, but I still have a couple of things. I photographed this sad-looking building, thinking that at some point in its existence, this may have been like a very elegant hotel. Because I looked at the units, and they're very tiny. Each one of them today, they probably work as private homes, but it makes me think that this must have been a cute town when it was first founded as such. And of course, I have been wanting to get to the Pitillal, the new cultural center. This used to be a market, a mercado that was not being used. And it was recently remodeled completely, and it was turned into a cultural center. And I bet you would like to take a look. Oh, okay. Hold on just a second. Let me pause this. For some reason, the audio is not playing because you couldn't hear the audio, right? Let me do a little maneuver then, and I'm going to play this as a separate thing altogether. Hold on. I know you cannot see me, but I am going to put the little mini walking tour in here. Hold on just a second because I do want you to see this. Hold on. There we go. Hello. I've just walked into the Centro Cultural, El Pitillal, and I wanted to give you a sense as to what is going on here because it's really amazing. For starters, this used to be the old and neglected Pitillal Mercado, which has not been used for many, many years. So the last administration, one of the nice things they did is they gave this building some love, and now it is a cultural center with all kinds of activities. I wanted to tell you about it because I think it's awesome that this is happening in the city. You walk in, and this whole general area has all these structures against the wall, which people can use to practice rock climbing. And there's all these surfaces down here that are used for for skateboarders to practice in a safe environment. And then there's a lot of things that are closed down. Of course, these types of projects tend to take a pause whenever there's a change in our administration. But just to give you a sense as to what adults and children can do here, there's a computer center here where you can learn about computers. And over here there's an enclosed classroom for multiple use, I'm sure. And then you come down here, and on this other side there are more spaces for workshops, including, check this out, people can use these sewing machines this is the leather workshop. That sounds crazy, but no, people can come here and learn how to work with leather. And then let's see what else. This is a similar station, but textile sewing machines. So if you want to learn about how to use a sewing machine, you can do that here. These are industrial machines. How exciting. Over here, there is no specific anything going on here. This seems to be like a storage area. And then over here, there's a silk screen printing workshop where students can learn how to do silk screen printing, which I think is totally awesome. And of course, there's a second story. I have been up there, and upstairs there are more workshop areas that are dedicated spaces. So I wanted to let you in on this place. They are presently using the same Facebook page as the other art institute in Puerto Vallarta. So if you have something you want to learn, this may be a place for you. If you have something you want to teach, this may be a place for you. But one way or another, I am so glad that spaces like this exist to create a sense of community. And this was a short, sweet, and to the point mini walking tour. Ciao. Next week, whoa, I should not be in the picture here. No, that's the one that I don't want. Next week, we are going to discuss Jardines de las Gaviotas, which is a neighborhood that we just went walking down this street not too long ago. But we're going to dive into the inside of Jardines de las Gaviotas. That will be a week from today. And this brings us to the end of our Pitillal exploration. I had so much fun yesterday walking. I walked all the way there. I had my meal at a place that I won't disclose until Tuesday. I walked back home completely full. I had turkey tacos. Not turkey tacos. I had tacos instead of turkey. And again, this is an experience that I recommend to anyone living here because it'll get you so much closer to Mexico than Emiliano Zapata or Conchas Chinas or Amapas or any of these places where we want tourists to spend time with. Let the tourists stay there. But if you want to get a slice of true Mexico, you really want to make it a point to visit El Pitillal. The end. Now, let's take a look at, Let's take a look at some of your comments just to see what everybody is thinking about. Love all the good mornings as always. Shiam para bim bum bum. Da-di-da-da-da. Da-da-da-da. Raymond says it's a wonderful Viernes in Versailles. That's a triple V. You must be a virgin. Is that? Yeah, virgin is with a little V. Let's see what else we have. Can't wait for Pitillal. I love but need to know my way around. Kathleen, it is as simple as have a cab or an Uber drop you off at the main plaza and just wander. Just wander around. It is just wonderful. That's my take. Let's see what else we have. Um, do 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 do. Love Pitillal went to a Tuesday bazaar in Coapinole in Pitillal earlier this week. I think I know the bazaar that you went to. The outdoor mercado in Pitillal, in Coapinole, which is part of Pitillal, is really, really huge. Um, Tony continues to comment on Emiliano Zapata and the uncontrolled condo construction. I hear you, my friend. I hear you. Let's see. Let's see. Ta-ti-ta-ti-ta-tam. Another nod for Pitillal. Thank you very much, Rod. Much appreciated. Let's see. Julie is grateful for her ex being born and raised in Pitillal. There you go. I have a Pitillal ex as well. And he showed me a couple of things. Bill comments, we've gone to Pitillal many times and have barbacoa there. The best lamb in town, barbacoa El Roble. I'm going to look for that one. Thank you very much for the comment. ¿Qué es pitillos? Asks Angelica. It's kind of like carrizos. It's those reed plants that are very common in certain river sides. That's what pitillos are. Rita offers a shout out to Marco Antonio Bravo, an art framer on Calle 5 de Mayo in Pitillal. Thank you very much. We had said hello to Martin, but we'll say hello again just because Martin is new. And thank you everybody for joining me in welcoming Martin. I really appreciate that. Please let us know that you don't want to know where the best bar in town is, Martin, because we've already answered that question. Never mind. Let's see. Julie says 35 peso men's haircuts. That must be El Pitillal. 50 pesos for the hat. Yes, it's almost a gift. It's like, again, if I had not decided I did not want to be schlepping things yesterday, I would have bought a bunch of hats just to give to my friends. And we read this endorsement from Maggie as in Peggy for Virgila Robles. That makes me want to go back even more and try it for the first time. Thank you very much, Scott, for that endorsement, for doing stills. Again, the reason we went with stills this time around was simply workflow. I knew that I was going to take a ton of photographs, and I knew that it would take some time to edit them and create a good presentation. And that's why we went this route. But I'm glad it worked for you, and I hope it worked for everybody else as well. Dale was at the Alfaria this week. Yes, wasn't that just absolutely crazy wonderful to see all those nativity things? Even if you don't have a nativity, it is so nice to appreciate the craftsmanship. Veronica has a good memory of Virgila Robles when the floor was gravel. Interesting. Let's see what else. What a great show. No nativity scene in our home, but I definitely need me some devils. You know what, Rita? It's so funny you say that because I also want to go back just to get a devil or two to have around the house because I thought they were truly, truly whimsical. Let's see. Another endorsement for Virgila Robles. Okay, I think I have that set on my path. There you go. And that could be a Taco Tuesday as well. Let's see. Dave says, I'm available on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Somebody take me. I love it. Kathleen says, this tour is the best ever for me. I am so happy, Kathleen. You know, I enjoy making every single one of them, but whenever I know that we're creating good connections, this is what it's all about. We're really great on this one. Well, to be honest, Albert, I was really looking forward to it. Because I know there's so much stuff in Pitillal. I mean, how can one not get excited when it's just a feast of senses, the smells, the sights, the sounds, the food. I mean, everything is absolutely wonderful. Ray asks, where can I find a beer cozy for mega caguamas? What a great question. I have no idea. But I bet if you go to Pitillal and you ask for what you're looking for, you're bound to find it in Pitillal somewhere. There has to be a store that sells them. Um, let's see. Da-da-da-dee-da-da. Hi from Paula's grandson Henry. Hello, grandson Henry. Emiliano Zapata is like Acapulco now. I lived 2 years in the 70s and it was wonderful with its own identity. Well, yeah, yeah, I hear you. Anna asks, "What is barbacoa?" Barbacoa is barbecue. It's a special way to prepare meat. I'm not entirely prepared to give you a very accurate, specific definition of barbacoa, but it is a style of cooking meat. And when I go back to that restaurant, I'll be happy to put together a more explicit explanation. Mm, 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 mm. On my list to buy a hat and other kitchen things and lunch, birria, great walk as always. Thank you very much, Tony. Again, what makes these outings to PTL great is if you have at least one restaurant in mind and one place where you need to stop, that makes all the other discoveries part of the trip and totally worthwhile. Um, and I think we are pretty much to the end of this. Yes, I think we are. We've reached the end of your comments. We've reached that part of the show where I thank you for being a part of this journey. And I am, and by the way, before I forget, yesterday you guys were absolutely spectacular. Yesterday was a perfect example of what an ideal broadcast is for me because there was so much to discuss. There was a lot of engagement. There was a lot of empathy and nourishment. It was just precious. And if you enjoyed today, well, there you have it. I'm very happy that I went, and I'm very happy that I did everything that I did yesterday. And that's it. If you enjoy what we do, keep in mind that our broadcasts, our outings, our restaurant visits are largely happening because of your ongoing support. Putting together these outings, putting together the broadcast is time consuming. We've said this before. This is my job. And it is my job because you pay for my salary. And that's pretty much the way it works. So if you're finding something of value here at Coffee and Headlines, please consider either pursuing a membership or buying some coffee, which translates into $3 a cup, which makes it possible for us to buy Luna some food and take her to the vet and all those good stuff, all that good stuff. And if you're not there, well, ni modo. But it is good to know that we have the support that we have. Support is always appreciated. I will see you again tomorrow for our last broadcast of the week. And I'll keep my eyes open, by the way, for more eye-rolling news since we had so much fun with the eye roll yesterday. And yes, here she is. Why not? Yes, she's a keeper. We're going to hold on to her. Have a great day, and I'll see you again tomorrow or sometime soon.